It's all about just constantly educating yourself. Knowledge is power. And I feel like, I've been in sales my entire life, but I've never really looked at it as sales. I look at it as though I educate a person on who I am and what I bring to the table.
Hey there, it's me, Stefan Burchard, the Bowtie Coach, with your latest episode of the Networking Made Simple podcast. Networking Made Simple is an exploration of networking and social business connections for entrepreneurs, but especially introverted entrepreneurs like me. It has taken me 24 years to get to the place where I'm comfortable to be on camera or a microphone or in front of people. My journey is far from over. I have the same challenges I've always had as an introvert. I've just learned how to leverage those introverted traits into positive tools for building business relationships. This podcast is an exploration and sharing of those 24 years of experience, mistakes, and learnings. I will alternate between sharing from my own experiences and interviewing other entrepreneurs to learn from their journey. I hope you enjoy this episode. Today on this podcast, I'm speaking with Troy Clark with Fraser Pest Control. I thought he'd be awesome because he's a new member in my networking group, Business Network International. And he's affable and fun. And I thought he'd be a good interviewee. So Troy, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? And I kind of blew it on how do we know each other.
Thank you, Stefan. Troy Clark with Fraser Pest Control. I handle their business development and account manager. Just basically here to help build business for the company. They've done a really good job at it over the years. And with that being said, we've known each other for years and years throughout our different endeavors here in the Coachella Valley. And somehow the stars lined up and we ended up together. So we're now working together. And I think that kind of really brings full circle what networking is all about, right? Because when you have long lasting relationships and don't burn bridges, it's amazing what will come back to you full circle.
Yeah.
Could be 6 months later, could be 6 years later. In this case, it was 20 years later. And here we are working together and working towards the same goal. So
nice. So those of you that don't know, listening or watching the podcast, he's talking about Julie and Joe Fraser. So they are the owners of Fraser Pest Control. So they're very dear friends of mine as well. But Troy trumps me because he's known them a heck of a lot longer than I have. And what Troy did not tell us is that he has been an entrepreneur his whole life. He's owned businesses. So he is no stranger to networking and the power of relationships, right?
It is true. It's true. I started at a very young age, right out of high school. So I don't want to say how long ago that's been, but it's been a long time.
Yeah, I wouldn't be saying that either. Troy, consider yourself an introvert or an extrovert, and how has that trait influenced your networking and your business?
I'd have to say it's a little bit of both, but primarily extrovert. As shy as I can be sometimes, and it's funny when my wife and I go out to dinner or go have a drink at a bar somewhere, she'll be the one sitting there having conversation and making new friends, and I'm more the person that would just rather sit there and mind my own business and have conversation between the two of us. But with that being said, I wouldn't be where I'm at today if I wasn't or consider myself an extrovert, because I do put myself out there. I am open to meet new people. I do really, what would be the word, invite strangers or welcome conversation with people that I don't know. And when we get in the room together and we network, for example, as a group, I love it. I just love that part of things. So yeah, I think all in all, that's it's super. It's really helped me in developing relationships, which have turned into long-term relationships.
Yeah. How has business networking impacted your entrepreneurial journey and your success?
Oh, I've been doing it again, I started fresh out of high school, and I don't know where I got it from, because I learned a lot from my father, and he really wasn't, he didn't really practice that. I think a lot of times, I'm going to call it old school, you relied on advertising and marketing. You paid for things. You paid for new clients to come to you.
Yeah.
And somehow along the way, I learned that just the power of relationships and having a good sphere will bring customers. And that's what I've always done. So I started at a very early age, and I've just continued on. And It's just, I think I felt like I've been rewarded every since. So it's helped me in every aspect, no matter what I've done throughout my career. It seems like no matter what it was, as soon as I started, I hit the ground running. It wasn't like I was sitting there at a standstill. And yes, like anything, you have to build a pipeline, but it starts much quicker and it catapults you to where you want to go quicker when you have that sphere and you have those people in your network.
Absolutely. What are some challenges you've encountered with networking, and what do you do to overcome them?
To be honest with you, I would say my biggest challenge is to help my fellow networkers succeed and get as many referrals as I do. And so sometimes, because we all know that as important as a good referral is, it's just as important that you don't give a bad referral. So you have to be really selective, which is why it's really important and why it's so valuable in regards to the group that we're in.
Yeah.
And so bottom line is I'm just very selective on who I'm going to refer, especially if it's outside of our tight group, if you will. And so that's probably the biggest challenge, is just to make sure if I don't want to waste anybody's time. And I know that's not really up to me to judge, but at the same time, that would be my biggest challenge, is just making sure that I'm providing a good referral to all my fellow networkers.
I love it. Let's take a step back to mindset. Is it important to invest in oneself? And what does that look like for you?
100%. That's you have to. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's the groups you're involved in, the clothes you put on every day, you name it. You're constantly investing in yourself. CEUs, the continued education units. Again, that looks different to everybody, I'm sure, but whether you read a book, whether you watch a movie, whether you listen to a podcast, it's all about just constantly educating yourself. Knowledge is power. And I feel like, I've been in sales my entire life, but I've never really looked at it as sales. I look at it as though I educate a person on who I am and what I bring to the table. And if that's a good fit for them, then we do business. And if it's not, I respect that and I'll go on my merry way. But to me, it's more of an education process than sales. So that education is all about investing back in yourself, and I think it all works out to your favor.
Cool. Are you feeling overwhelmed lately, frazzled and unproductive? Well, you're not alone. This is where coaching can come into play. As your Bowtie coach, I specialize in helping introverted entrepreneurs navigate these waters. Together, we can tailor a self-care and business strategy that fits your unique personality and business goals, ensuring you don't just survive, but thrive. Click the link below to get a discovery call time with me, and let's explore together. Bye. So how do you decide on attending a new group or a venue for networking? What criteria do you look at?
More the quality of the people. It's not so much I mean, it's obviously, there are certain businesses or services that complement each other more so than others.
Yeah.
But more important than that is just the quality of the person. You have to find somebody who's, what I'm looking for is somebody who's as committed as I am. If I'm going to get my butt out the door at 6:30 in the morning to go to be somewhere, I expect them to do the same, right? So that's all I'm looking for. Just a like-minded individual like myself who's looking for kind of the same thing and is willing to put in the same work and or have the same work ethic that I do, regardless of what they do. I don't care if they're, giving manicures and pedicures or what. It doesn't matter. We'll always find each other to refer each other business as long as we're got the right mindset and a good head on our shoulders.
So it sounds like you'll check out a new venue and really look at the quality of the connections.
Yeah. In a nutshell, that's what it's all about. And you know what? You may attend an event that's got 100 people and find one individual that you click with, hit it off with. And to me, that's success.
Yeah, I agree. One person. That's what I say. One person per group. That's enough. One good connection.
I learned a long time ago, and I've never forgot this. You never know where your next best customer is going to come from.
That's true.
And it's so true.
It's very true. What advice would you give an introvert regarding networking?
Just to go out on a limb, if you will, and take that risk and get out of your shell. Just go for it. If you're going to get up every single day, get dressed, put your feet on the ground, just go give it your 100% and give it a valiant effort. And, at the end of the day, you have nothing to lose and everything to gain. Yes, you've got to get over that fear factor, if you will. But other than that, and I don't want to, I hate to try to dismiss it as if it's not a real thing, because it absolutely is. There's, for some people, it's just not their thing, or they've got a big fear of meeting new people or being in a large room. So I'm not trying to dismiss that at all. I totally understand it. But if you can get past that, just go out and be yourself, because at the end of the day, people are genuinely friendly and want to help, I think, for the most part. And if you're just open, hey, this is my first time, hey, I'm a little nervous, hey, I've never done this before, you'll be surprised at the support that you get.
Nice. And now the follow-up question to that is, how would an introvert do that without feeling overwhelmed? What could they do to make sure they don't get overwhelmed or feel overwhelmed?
Honestly, I think with what I just said, I think if you're open about it and you convey that to whoever you're in the room with, I think that those people will then do a very good job at trying to make, causing you to be more comfortable, right? Yeah. I don't know. I just think this, by putting it out there and being a part of BNI and seeing the different faces and the different personalities in the group, you see that. You see when visitors come in, or somebody's subbing for somebody else and they're a little lost for words and don't know exactly what to say, and it can be intimidating. Mm-hmm. But as soon as they say something and mention that it's their first time or they're a little nervous, other people go out of their way to make them feel comfortable.
I agree. So my last interviewee gave me a great idea for a side business. We're going to create some big buttons like this big, and it says, "Be gentle with me, I'm an introvert."
I like it.
But that's
great.
I know. I was like, God, that's a really good idea. That is a really good idea. So let's get a tad personal, Troy. Do you have a go-to book or resource for inspiration?
So truth be told, I am not a big reader. I'm just not, never have been.
That's why I said resource.
So I would have to say my wife is. My wife's
wonderful.
Yep, absolutely. She's a huge inspiration, and probably my biggest fan. And again, being in sales most of my life, things are not always 100%. We all struggle from time to time. Yeah. And if I ever need, whether it be motivation, whether it just be a pat on the back, whether it be an attaboy, whether it be, she's always right there, because she's been there, done that, been through it. She's also in sales. So, we just kind of, I don't want to say feed off of each other, but we're certainly there to support one another and share stories with one another and help build each other up.
Awesome. Troy, how do you like to start and end your day? I call these bookends, a way to get my engine going in the morning and a way to let go of the day or decompress in the evening.
Well, I don't know if I'd say whether I like it or not, the way I do start my day, and I've actually gotten to enjoy it quite a bit. It's turned out to be a stress reliever for me. But my wife and I have 3 horses. So I start my day off every morning by feeding the horses and mucking the stalls.
Nice.
And that's typically, 6 a.m. or before. And so it's typically cool outside, if not cold, depending upon the season. But it's just for some it's gardening, for some it's sewing. Everybody's a little bit different, but you go out there and it's kind of mindless work, but you're in the company of some pretty majestic animals that give you that unconditional love. And so that's how I start. And then from there, it leads to coffee on the couch, and then it's time to start the day.
Nice. How do you turn around a challenging day?
A good cocktail.
I was going to say, besides calling your wife.
Oh, gosh. My animals do a good job at that, to be honest with you. Again, that unconditional love, they're not there to judge you, whether you've had a good day, bad day.
Yeah.
They just want you to love them,
Totally.
So,
animals are amazing.
Yeah. That can turn around to, what you might think was a wasted day or a bad day, and turn it around and give you a whole new perspective.
Oh yeah. My little pups, they always know when I'm in one of those moods, I'll call it, whether I'm sad or going through a depressive episode, I'm just in that state. It's like they will come up to me and insist on love and affection. And all you can do is get down on the floor and love them and let them love you. And it's like, it just erases everything. It's like, God, why do I get so intense?
Yeah, no, that's so true. We have an Aussie, and I don't know if you know much about their breed, but
oh my God, they're amazing.
They are very smart. They're very affectionate, and yeah, she knows whether you're high or low, and she's kind of the same way.
Yeah. Aussies are amazing.
Yeah.
Spirited.
Yes, very.
Spirited. Troy, I want to thank you for taking the time to be with me today and to letting me pick your brain about networking. And is there anything else you want to tell our viewers or listeners about yourself or Fraser Pest?
I guess add to this is when you'd ask something that's challenging about networking, a lot of people will possibly think of their competition, right, as being that. It's their competition, and how do I deal with it or work with it? And I've always been a firm believer that friendly competition is a good thing. Doesn't matter what you do. If you're a real estate agent, there's enough houses out there for all the agents. If you're in pest control, there's plenty enough bugs in the desert to go around for all of us pest control. Totally. And it takes me back to when I was in the appliance business, and I had a competitor that did not say fond things of me, and he didn't even know who I was. So it took me to go over and pay a special trip to go see him, and we had a very quick conversation, and that ended up leading to probably a 25-year relationship where we really worked together. And what I mean by that is, if there were things that people came into my store that they were looking for and I didn't have it, I would just say, hey, go check with this place. He does a good job, and he offers the same kind of products that I do. And I just said, you know what? I just wish you would do the same. And even though we're competitors, if I don't have something and you do, why wouldn't I want to send it to you? And vice versa, right? So I just think that there's, it's kind of like being friendly, right? You can either have a smile and be friendly, or you can not do that. But I think you're going to get a lot more out of life, and things are going to be a lot more, pleasant for you if you take the high road. So
absolutely,
that's the way I've always tried to do it. It's worked out pretty well.
Yep. Kill them with kindness, no matter what.
Yes.
Cool. Well, thank you, Troy. I appreciate your time.
You bet. Thank you.
To learn more about Networking Made Simple, make sure to subscribe and leave us a review. Hey, you may also enjoy my YouTube channel at Bowtie Coach. Thanks for listening, and I hope you'll join me on the next episode. Bye.